Listening Part 6 Viewpoints Tips and Strategies. How to listen effectively. Listen in full sentence mode, not vocabulary mode. This will help you understand ideas more than specific words. Avoid focusing too much on vocabulary. Vocabulary is useful and important, but only for some specific questions. Listen and repeat ideas in your mind. This will help you absorb information and keep it clearly. You can take notes while you listen. You will be given a notepad, so this can help you keep information more. You can write notes in your language. The notes will not be graded. Make sure writing doesn't interfere with listening. Imagine the content of the lecture. How would you feel and react if this issue included your viewpoint? What would your opinion be? This can help you answer better. What information to focus on? Understand the main issue. This will help you understand the ideas related to the issue. Identify what the main issue being discussed is. Focus on what are the main factors that affect the issue. Identify what some of the problems related to the issue are. Understand the different views. Usually, there are different views, ideas, opinions expressed about the issue. How are they different? How are they the same? What are the effects of each one? What are some solutions suggested? Focus on ideas more than vocabulary. This will help you understand the questions and answers clearer. Ideas are related to the situation. Specific words will only confuse the answers. Vocabulary association. Try to connect words to each other. Associate them. This will help you retain ideas better. So here we are in listening part 6, listening for viewpoints sample from the CELPIP website. You will hear a report about multiculturalism policies. And what we want to do here is I just want to go through with you about practicing our listening skills, particularly about what information we should be focusing on. And according to our guide, we need to try to get the main issue from the beginning, and we should try to gather the different viewpoints. This is what's most important. Avoid vocabulary, focusing on it. And we just want to try to keep as much information about the issue and viewpoints as possible. So, of course, there will be more information here. So I will stop it when I feel I have some information. And again, I'm going to be repeating that in my mind, or I will be writing some notes. Remember, you do have a notepad. So, as long as we keep that information, we will have a better chance of answering the questions. Let's listen.
Multicultural societies are more prevalent around the globe than ever before. Canada is often credited for instigating this movement back in 1971, when Prime Minister Pierre Elliott Trudeau declared Canada to be a multicultural nation. Trudeau envisioned a country which recognized and respected the contribution by various ethnic groups to the cultural enrichment of Canada, and he implemented policies to safeguard that contribution. However,
So, right away, I got the main issue talking about multicultural societies, particularly Canada being one. And also, it talked about one person, Pierre Trudeau, who is the one who made Canada a multicultural society, or at least made it aware. Now I feel like it's shifting because I'm listening to that word, however. However, also additionally, these addition words will help us gather the next viewpoint or a transition. Let's listen some more.
the German Chancellor, Angela Merkel, recently declared the policy of multiculturalism a failure. There have been significant demographic changes in many countries over the last decades. Unfortunately, in some nations, this has resulted in intercultural tensions. Thus, other European countries have also condemned multiculturalism as a passing fad that does not actually promote unity in today's diverse societies.
So, it mentioned Angela Merkel and Europe and saying that multiculturalism is not working because it doesn't promote or it doesn't give diversity. That's what Europe's opinion seems to be.
Sociologist Arlene Brandon argues that these countries cannot condemn a practice that they've never really attempted to properly implement. Brandon's research on the success of multiculturalism has shown a strong correlation between citizenship and multiculturalism. The nations that have most successfully adopted a policy of multiculturalism are those that have allowed immigrants to eventually become citizens, thus creating a strong sense of unity and inclusion. Presently, Canada and Australia are the most multicultural countries, and because of their policies, their demographic changes have generally occurred peacefully and positively. France, Norway, and Germany, on the other hand,
I'll stop it there. I heard there about one researcher, Brandon, and according to this researcher, multiculturalism works. So it's good because it helps nations or the newcomers become integrated into that society. So that was a different view. Now it seems like we're moving to another view.
have failed to truly adopt multiculturalism since they treat foreigners as temporary labor and not as future citizens. Brandon says these countries should not blame multiculturalism for their problems, but rather their poorly designed policies. However, not everyone.
Just there, Brandon again, she said that Europe's, it's more about the failure to have good policies, not multiculturalism. Now we're moving to another viewpoint, however.
Agrees that Canada's multiculturalism has been successful. According to controversial author Nora Alkabar, present day multiculturalism, as practiced in Canada, encourages segregation and hyper-political correctness. Alkabar argues that multiculturalism and diversity are not the same thing. She says that diversity refers to differences in thoughts, opinions, and viewpoints, whereas multiculturalism involves equality and mutual respect among a population's cultural groups. She maintains that multiculturalism should mean engaging with others in a meaningful way about their assumptions and goals. Alkabar says that Canadians today are so worried about offending someone or saying the wrong thing that they don't engage with other cultures or ask questions they may have.
Just going to stop it here for a second. Just Alkabar, another viewpoint, saying that diversity and multicultural are different things. That's what I'm getting from her view. That diversity is one thing, multiculturalism is another. Specifically, multiculturalism, she said engaging. Diversity is just being different.
Which she finds disrespectful. Alkabar claims that a true multicultural society is built on mutual respect and hopes that the next generations engage with each other more honestly. What do you think, Canada? Is it time to have a frank and honest conversation about multiculturalism in our nation? We'd love to hear from you after this commercial break.
So, the last point, Alkabar says that we need to be more engaging as a multicultural society. So, I should, according to what I remember in there was Trudeau, there was Brandon, there was Alkabar, there was Merkel from Germany. There were different views. Okay, Brandon said there was a correlation. Merkel said it didn't work in Europe. And then Alkabar suggested that even in Canada, where we have a multicultural society, it's not working. So at least we got the main point, multiculturalism, and there were different views related to that. And that should be enough to help us at least look at the questions by understanding the main issue. Reading the questions. Repeat the question to better understand it. Focus on what part the question is related to. Usually there are 2 or 3 views expressed. Make sure to understand what view the questions are asking about. Focus on the key words of the questions. Make sure to understand the connection between the question and the lecture. The questions are usually related to the overall issue. What is it about? How does it affect the views? The different opinions or views. How do the views agree or differ from each other? Overall suggestions for the issue. What can be concluded from the issue? Selecting the answers. Focus on the overall discussion. What was the main issue? What are each speaker's opinions about the issue? Focus on idea association. Avoid confusing what the speakers said. How do the speakers agree or disagree? Focus on vocabulary association. Often, answers are confused by providing similar words to the listening, but they don't connect to the question or have a different meaning. Answers can have synonyms to the listening, so think of similar words. Focus on meaning. Some answers require understanding of the complete context of the discussion more than specific information. So, we should understand what the overall message is about. Sometimes sentences can mean more than the words they use. For example, expressions, idioms, and slang. So now that we've heard the lecture, let's have a look at the questions and let's see if we can use our guide, our tips, and our strategies to better understand the questions and answers. So once it's done, it will automatically go to the questions. Here in this practice, we press next. So looking at the questions, the first part is we should always look at the question as a keyword. So here, movement toward creating. So movement toward creating is key, not the passage and not multicultural societies. Multicultural societies is not a keyword because that was the whole topic. Number two, okay, so we have Merkel. And again, this here, the keyword is just Merkel because the topic is multiculturalism, so it's not a keyword. And seems to feel is just kind of the action of her. So we need to understand again also every question, what point is it related to? What viewpoint? Next, we have Brandon. Here, Brandon, and the other part is failing, okay? Because those two, so her viewpoint, but failing, because she had actually two views, if I remember correctly. Next, Australia, okay. Next, it's about Alkabar. And also key here, encourage. Okay, and this question is about the whole passage, the whole. So again, looking at the questions, we need to understand the key word or who the question is related to, what viewpoint. Let's look at the answers now. So here's question 1. Has reached an unprecedented level worldwide, is growing in popularity in Germany and France, has been rather unsuccessful in North America, is a newly adopted trend in Canadian politics. So, to be clear, lower levels probably will choose this answer because they heard Canadian politics. They might choose this answer because something related to North America. They might choose this answer because Germany and France was mentioned in the lecture. And they might choose this answer because of worldwide. And it was talking about around the world, so they might choose that answer. All these answers could be chosen by lower levels only because of the words we heard. So, to better understand the answer, we need to connect, okay? We need to associate. Looking at this one here, Germany and France, because that's a clear example. Germany and France was mentioned in the lecture, but did it say that multiculturalism is growing in popularity in Germany and France? So I remember clearly when I heard Germany and France, it was talking about Germany and France multiculturalism not being popular. Because I remember I connected Germany and France, Angela Merkel, Germany, France, same multiculturalism is going down. So not growing. But the reason I know that for sure again is because I associated words, okay? Now, also, we have to look at the other answers. Did it say, for example, Canadian? I know I mentioned Canada in several cases. Did it say that mul- creating multicultural societies is a newly adopted trend in Canadian politics? Is it new? I heard Canadian politics, I heard Pierre Trudeau, but does that mean that multiculturalism or creating a multicultural society is new in Canada? We are right now in 2021. Pierre Trudeau was, I'm pretty sure it said there in the 1970s. So I also don't think that this is the answer because it doesn't sound new in Canada. So again, but I associated those ideas. Okay? I made that association. I didn't just listen for Canadian politics or North America or Germany and France. So that's very important. Looking at number two, German Chancellor Merkel seems to feel that multiculturalism has led to improved demographics, should be improved upon as a policy, will help grow the European population, has created more problems than benefits. So, to better select the answer here, we need to make sure that we're not selecting an answer just because we heard the word demographics. I remember that word, and I remember that word related actually to Chancellor Merkel. And she was talking about multiculturalism, but did she mention that it had improved demographics? Actually, I don't remember it saying that it had improved demographics, meaning different types of populations, groups of people. Um, well, I remember because I wasn't focused on the word demographics itself, I was focused on what Chancellor Merkel was saying. And she was saying that multiculturalism hadn't worked. It wasn't working. So the word improved here to me doesn't match with demographics because I remember the viewpoint. So, similarly, did she say should be improved upon as a policy? I remember her talking that multiculturalism wasn't working and about changing policies, but did she mention that exactly that we need to improve, should be improved upon as a policy? That's the question. That it will help grow the European population, not just the European population, which we heard. So, again, when selecting answers, we need to associate the idea we heard about Angela Merkel, and we need to associate the answers. Associate to meaning what we heard, not just words. And that way you can select the correct answer more. That is the end of listening part 6, Viewpoints, Tips and Strategies.